there, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about my favorite art books. These are both the art books that I learned the most from and also the art books that inspire me the most. Some of you may know I went to art school, and though I learned a lot there through practice, constant practice, I do wish I learned a little bit more about technique and color theory and composition. I'm a little bit of an art nerd. I want to know as much as I possibly can, and so these are some of the books that have helped me in that journey of knowledge. Okay, so I don't only read art books, I also read every day for my entertainment, and that brings me to today's sponsor, which is Book of the Month. Book of the Month is a book subscription service that aims to help readers find new books that they love and also promote the work of emerging authors. At the beginning of each month, they announce 5 to 7 new selections. So members choose one book from the selection as their book of the month and can also add any book from the website to their box at a discount. They've also recently launched curated audiobooks to their app, so members can choose an audiobook or a hardcover book each month. This month I chose The Storm We Made by Vanessa Chan, and I also chose Tomb Sweeping by Alexandra Chang. So I've already started reading The Storm We Made and it's fantastic. So I'm really excited to finish this and also to dive into tomb sweeping. I really love the discovery and curation aspect of Book of the Month. I read a lot and I'm constantly looking for new books to read. And because each month they go through hundreds of new titles to find the best of the best, you know that no matter what you choose, it's gonna be good. So for a limited time, you can join Book of the Month and get your first book for only $5 using the code SWEATER. So yes, thank you so much Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. So starting with anatomy, we have The Human Figure by John H. Vanderpoel. I really like this book because he breaks down each individual little part of the body, like the knees and the ankles, but then also how all of these parts connect and come together. There are some really great images that you can sketch from, but there's also a lot of text that explains how these parts of the body fit together, how they move, and it's just a great comprehensive anatomy book. We also have Constructive Anatomy by George B. Bridgman. This is quite similar to the Vanderpoel book, I find, where it goes into detail about, individual parts of the body. Like there's multiple pages just on the thumb. And this one's really great because there's more diagram type images that will actually teach you the names of the bones and the muscles of different parts of the body. So yes, if you want to improve your anatomy, then I definitely recommend those two books. I also have a really great bonus anatomy book. I don't remember how this guy stumbled into my collection, honestly, but it is Figure Drawing and Anatomy for the Artist by John Raynes. And I love this book, whereas the other two sort of feel like sketching companions. This one goes a little bit deeper and talks about things like character, adding character to your figures, clothing, and composition. So it's not only about the structure of the body, but also how to go about actually drawing the body. So yeah, this was a book that I wasn't seeking out, but it found its way into my collection, and I'm really glad it did. Okay, next I'm going to talk about the books that are more for the painter. So the first one that I have to include, I've recommended this to so many people, and that is Color and Light, a guide for the realist painter by James Gurney. And if you don't know who James Gurney is, he's an incredible illustrator. He's also an art YouTuber, but I feel really weird calling him that because we can't be in the same category, me and him, because he's just so up there for me. But this book is fantastic. It is just packed full of information. The way he explains color and light was very eye-opening for me. I feel like he really turned a light switch on in my brain, and since reading this book, I actually see the world around me differently. And he made these books so affordable, which I think was such a kind thing for him to do. So yes, James Gurney's Color and Light, 100% recommend. This is a slightly newer addition to my art book collection, and that is the Oil Painter's Color Handbook by Todd M. Casey. And although this says it's for oil painters, I think this is actually a super handy book for any artist that works with color. Even digital artists would benefit, I think, from reading this book. So like James Gurney's book, this book is packed with information. He uses both contemporary examples and examples from the masters. This is a very visual book. I really like his pages about specific pigments. Like I'll have a page just about green pigments or red pigments. So as you're trying to figure out what colors you want to work with, this can be a really handy guide. And as I've been really wanting to do more oil paintings in the new year, I think this book is going to be extremely helpful. That is the Oil Painter's Color Handbook by Todd M. Casey. So the last technical book I want to talk about is one that, if I'm completely honest, I don't look at a lot, but at the same time, I'm really happy that I have it in my back pocket because I know it will come in handy in the future. And that is the Painter's Handbook by Mark David Gottsegen. This book is probably the most technical of all of the books that I'm sharing today, and it goes super in depth about things like supports, grounds, pigments. It covers things like how to stretch a canvas, how to build a wooden crate to transport your work. It even talks about the technical aspects of painting a mural, which is sort of a bucket list thing for me. I would love to paint a mural someday. So yes, if you want to learn more technical stuff like that, this is a great book to have. So now I want to talk about the books that are more inspirational for me and less, technical and educational. These are more fun books, if you will. So first up, we have Anders Zorn, Sweden's master painter. So Zorn is one of my favorite painters of the past. You may know his name from the famous Zorn palette, which he was known to use in his works, which consisted of yellow ochre, ivory black, vermilion, and lead white. I have always wanted to make a video using the Zorn palette, so let me know if you want to see that. The cool thing about the palette is that there is no blue, but it doesn't really feel like it is missing blue because the ivory black sort of takes on that cool role. So this book is absolutely gorgeous. I am endlessly inspired by his work, and most specifically his oil portraits. They have such life to them that they feel real and alive, yet they're still painterly. You're aware that you're looking at a painting and you can see all of these beautiful brushstrokes. So I just love flipping through this book, and it really makes me want to paint. Okay, next on the list, I think this is the biggest art book that I own, and that is this Ratcliff John Singer Sargent book. So of course I love John Singer Sargent. He is definitely a favorite of portrait artists. Sargent was a friend and contemporary of Monet, and he is most known for his portraits of the affluent families of the time. Like Zorn, he is one of my favorite artists, and I actually have 3 Sargent books, but this one is my favorite. I bought this secondhand. The one downside to this book is that it is the more affordable edition where some of the plates are black and white instead of full color, but there are still a bunch of beautiful full color plates in this book. And there's also some in-depth text about Sargent and his life and what was going on sort of in the timeline of his artist career. This book is just gorgeous, and I really recommend it if you are a Sargent fan. And it's really nice to have these high quality images of his work to look at and drool over. So that's this big boy. Next, we have Pons-sorolla, the Masterworks. So Pons-sorolla is another one of my favorite artists of the past. He was a Spanish painter that was often called the painter of light. He often painted plein air landscapes of the seaside, usually including figures. He was influenced greatly by the French Impressionists, which you can definitely see come through in a lot of his works. My favorite paintings of his are the ones that show youths frolicking at the seaside. He was really good at capturing the look of wet skin and also how sunlight would play on the water, on skin, on fabric. His seashore paintings are just phenomenal, so I definitely recommend looking into his works if you haven't heard of him before. And if you're really inspired by his work like I am, then maybe you can pick up this book as well. Okay, so that is all of my favorite art books. Bonus at the end here, I wanted to share the art books that are on my radar that I would like to purchase in the future. The first one being Alla Prima 2 by Richard Schmid, and I have had my eyes on this book since art school and I still don't have it. It is quite the expensive book. Richard Schmid is an incredible artist. I really love his portraits and the loose way that he handles paint, and the construction of his brushstrokes are just so beautiful, and I would really love to learn from him. And second, I would love to get my hands on some Hayao Miyazaki art books, specifically the Art of Howl's Moving Castle and Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, Kiki's Delivery Service. I find Miyazaki's movies incredibly inspiring, and the art style is just chef's kiss. So those are probably next on my list of art books to get. So yes, I think that is it for this video. Please let me know down in the comments what your favorite art books are. A huge thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring this video. I also want to say an enormous thank you to our channel members. Thank you so much for your support. It means the world. If you want to become an art member, you can hit the join button down below and get a little paint tube badge next to your name. Okay, that was a lot of talking. I will see you all very, very soon with another video. Bye-bye.